Art is dead. Creativity is dead. Originality? Non-existent. What happened? We live in an age where the art we consume, music, movies, video games, they've become such hollow shells of what they used to be. Everything today is just recycled, repackaged, designed to be as safe as possible. No risks. We don't want to offend anyone. No bold ideas. Just low-hanging fruit. Desperately trying to grab onto the nostalgia of the things, of how they used to be. Finding followers of things that already exist and just making that thing over again, except this time without even a bit of risque, without even a bit of interesting things about it. Just plain, tasteless, cold, disgusting, honestly. It's just remakes, sequels, reboots. They're all just lazy cash grabs, milking the remains of what once was. Even the remakes, they, like I said, they're completely neutered. They take something that used to be maybe daring, maybe dangerous, interesting in some way, and make it soft, inoffensive, palatable for everyone. Movies that once pushed boundaries both technically and narratively, they're now watered down, sanitized versions of themselves. It's the same with music. It's the same with video games. So many AAA studios are going out of business. Thankfully, good thing, because they're just grabbing the low-hanging fruit. They really don't respect our time. They don't respect our intelligence. Music, let's not even go there. The 50s had rock and roll. The 60s had the rise of psychedelic and protest music. The 70s had disco and punk. 80s gave us probably one of the best times in music. There was a new wave of synth pop and heavy metal. The 90s, they had grunge, they had hip hop, electronic experimentation, rap. And what since? Nothing. Just complete lame ass BS. Or like taking bits and pieces of the 80s and the 70s and the 60s and mixing them up. We complain that AI might kill creativity, might kill the human soul, the spirit, but those things have been already dead. That's probably why AI will take over so easily, because nothing's going to change. People won't even notice. People who've been born in the 2000s, they won't even notice anything changed with AI, because people who are creating nowadays are behaving like AI. Jeez. Every decade used to have its own voice, its own sound. Since the 2000s, we've been stuck in this creative purgatory where nothing is truly new. We're just fed the same safe commercialized content over and over again. Unwilling to offend, unwilling to push boundaries, afraid to alienate their broadcast audience. And it's killing every single industry. The big studios are all suffering because of it. Look at the box office. Look at video game industry. Big budget blockbusters flop one after the other. It's all about pushing agendas now. All about politics, all about changing the minds of people, the brainwash. We have to get this group of people working so they pay more taxes. We have to get this group of people working so they don't have time to make more children because we want less children. And we want to confuse people with their gender and their sexual orientations and their national identity by mixing them all, and every identity is gone. We have to become as bland as the creativity has become. We have to, and it's showing, it's working. That's what's scary, is that people are becoming as bland as the creativity that's coming out of them. There is no creativity because it's working. They're completely neutering the human soul. Who's they? I don't know. I don't know who they is. In trading, we call that the composite man. It's basically multiple interests converging into something of an entity. Not on purpose, maybe, but in an organic way it forms, and then it leads society into a very detrimental place, let's say. We as a generation, or rather the generation after mine, I should say, has stopped living. They stopped taking risks. Little kids used to all break their legs and arms, and you have so many videos online of these kids in the schools like 20, 30 years ago, climbing on ropes and doing all kinds of crazy stuff within the school grounds. Now, you go to school, you never see anybody with a broken leg or broken arm or anything. Not that that's a good thing, but just saying that everything has become so protected, so safe. Everything's in a bubble. We haven't seen, we haven't suffered, we haven't lived through the kind of societal upheaval that fueled creativity in the past. Instead, we're just numbed. We're Xanaxed out. Everybody's Xanaxed out and acts like it. And you can see it through the media, which is an extension of what people feel inside, right? Of the creativity. It's stifled. We're scrolling through endless feeds, consuming content that keeps us comfortable but never challenges us. We've been spoon-fed content that's so safe and barely alive that it's made us barely alive. The imagination has been completely neutered, and art thrives on conflict, on struggle, on the raw human experience. We know this. But there's none of that anymore, so there's no more art. When your experience is so curated by algorithms and entertainment designed not to offend, where does that leave you? Remember when artists used to say something meaningful, something strong, something that will definitely offend but make you think. It's all about that analytical brain, about thinking hard, about having problems and solving them, and then using all that you've learned, all that suffering, all that life experience to create something, to shock, to inform other people through the medium of art, through music and games and films. It's no longer like that. People have nothing to share anymore, literally. What are you going to share about your day? I've scrolled on YouTube and on Instagram, and yeah, that was your day. You didn't go out there and travel and fight wars and fall and break and who knows what else, experience incredible pain of some sort or another. And that has to be the case, not individually. It has to be the case in groups. So you can together create a wave that'll end up being art. I don't know. Games used to be bold and imaginative. Just go back and look at them. So many cartoons from the past, or movies, or games. When you play them now, or you look at them now, you're wondering, how the heck did this even exist? How the heck did this pass? Like, how was this even acceptable? But that's how it's supposed to be. It is now that it's not acceptable. You need to have the shock value. That's what art is. It's supposed to click something in your brain that makes you think differently, that widens your horizons. Even if it's a very negative piece of art, it widens your horizons. It doesn't mean it's going to turn people. Everybody's so freaked out. Oh my God, if we show them this negative thing, they're all going to become negative. People are not robots. You're turning them into those. They are not robots. They're supposed to be challenged. And not because by showing them the negative, you're going to make them negative. If you show them the negative, in most cases, you're going to make them even more positive, because they're going to realize what's on the other side of that equation. So showing something terrible, offensive, just makes people realize that it's wrong. It's not going to encourage people to be that way. But if you stop them from thinking, they're going to revolt, and they're going to start thinking the opposite in a lot of cases. And you can see this extreme very often. That's how extremism is born, in fact, from pressure, from pressuring you down, from not letting you explode. For every action, there's a equal and counter reaction. Today, everybody's terrified about being original. And because of that, everything is a husk of what used to be. So what happens next? Do we keep consuming the safe, soulless content? Do we just add more screens? Because now it's not enough to just watch this series. It's not entertaining enough. It's not interesting enough. So why not just look at my phone at the same time? But the phone is not interesting anymore. So why not add, something, a third thing and a fourth thing on multiple screens? I'll play a game on one and watch a series on the other, a movie on the third, and maybe scroll some Instagram on the fourth, or Twitter. Because it's getting so boring that I need 50 kinds of entertainment, and it's frying my brain. It's just terrible. We are turning into robots. And it seems like it's a vicious circle, right? We turn into robots, we act like robots, which makes us turn even more into robots. Oops. So, we have to reject safety. All sorts. We have to reject being in a bubble. We have to reject pushing agendas of all kinds. Or push them all at the same time, but not pick and choose. Let it all be out there, or let nothing be out there, especially not censoring. Let the people decide. Let the people be challenged. Let the people be alive. Let the circle go backwards to what it once was. Otherwise, our souls are going to die. We are going to just become robots. Safe, emotionless, asexual, confused, no identity whatsoever. That's what this is going towards. AI is already going to take over the way it looks. And if we have nothing to counter-offer, if we became robots, we're just going to be a lesser version of an AI. So what's the point of us even existing at that point? We need to start creating again. We need to take risks. We need to accept art for what it was. We need to accept being offended. We have to get offended every day, all day. That's what makes us grow. That's what makes other people who are offending realize whether they were right or wrong. Anyway, RIP creativity. I hope that together we can make it resurrect. Thank you, and goodbye.